Champions Cup, folks. La Rochelle and Ulster. 7 points to 3. Not the highest scoring game you'll ever see, and for a while I genuinely thought it was going to finish 0-0. But yeah, it was pretty wet and windy. We'll go through some key events and stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. Relatively decent kickoff time for those of us here in NZ. 6:30 in the morning, so I crawled out of bed, watched this one, coffee and toast at the ready. And yeah, there was no scoring in the first half. And when I say it was wet and windy, well, it was about as wet and windy as you ever see it. It's bizarre sitting here in shorts and a t-shirt watching that kind of horrendous weather. But the crowd was amazing. The crowd's really ferocious at La Rochelle. They certainly love their rugby because the weather wasn't putting them off. And there was even a few kind of diehard Ulster fans there as well. So yeah, there wasn't a lot going on in the first half, as I said. With the conditions, Ulster had the wind at their back, seemingly, according to the commentary team, and that seemed to help them, retain a bit of possession and territory, but not able to get any scoring. Paiva, the prop, got injured when he got kind of cleaned out in the first 10 minutes, so Sclavi has to come on and play. He's a big unit of a man, has to play like 70 minutes, and you can see by the scorers on the board, he does all right. But yeah, the first real scoring chance was La Rochelle opting for a penalty on 18 minutes, and they missed it because the weather was, as I said, not ideal for kickers, and then Ulster missed their first one a few minutes later, so the conditions not helping either of the kickers get their stats up. A lot of tight play. I mean, the breakdown was ultra competitive, which is what you would expect. A fair few kicks from hand. Dulon at the back was pretty reliable, but I mean, both sides were sometimes just losing the ball in the air because it was just, moving around. They couldn't get a read on where to be. So, yeah, it was just really tough. 30 minutes, Timony went really close from an Ulster maul, but ended up losing the ball forward right as he was kind of going for the goal line. The assistant with a good spot on that one. So Ulster, had an advantage. They went again. And La Rochelle's flanker ended up getting yellow carded for coming into the side of that ball. So Ulster went again. They got advantage again. Rob Little looked to have potentially gone over, but the pass in his direction from Stockdale and the build-up was forward. So that one was chalked off. The fourth time, is it going to be the lucky one for Ulster? Well, obviously we know no, because there was no scoring in the first half. The La Rochelle Maul defence managed to hold that fourth time and get a turnover, and the crowd absolutely loved it. So halftime is 0-0, man. Ulster have had 66% possession, 59% territory. Their run meters, there's barely 100 between them because there's just been no chance to run the ball. But there's been 7 turnovers in the first half, 4 by La Rochelle, 3 by Ulster. So that's what I'm talking about. The battle was largely at the breakdown and with the boot in that first half. Second half, Rule and Kurbalo come on, so O'Gara makes some kind of early changes for the La Rochelle guys because it's their turn with the win. The yellow card is over pretty much as soon as the second half begins, so no damage done by that one. There's a bit of handbags early. Doak ends up getting kind of hit a little bit late after the ref had blown the whistle for a knock-on, and Ian Madigan didn't like it, and he came in, and yeah, there was all kinds of goings-on. If I remember rightly, Ulster ended up getting pinged. I think it was Madigan that got pinged. They didn't have the refs' comms always on the feed that I had, so couldn't really tell what he said, but La Rochelle ended up kicking the ball, so I'm assuming that was the deal. And then La Rochelle scrum started to get on top, man. They got a scrum penalty, they go for a line-out. They maul it in Ulster's 22, but then Hendo manages to win. He's playing 6 this week, manages to win a big turnover, which gets them out of jail. Ulster go down the other end of the field, and La Rochelle pretty much do the exact same thing back. There's more handbags. The ref's getting sick of the handbags. He tells them to kind of knock it off, but I guess because it's such a low-scoring game, you know that one moment or one play could be the difference. So the tension was pretty high. 62 minutes, we finally got the first score of the game. La Rochelle got pinged for an early shove at the scrum, and that was their second time doing that, so it's a penalty, and Doak managed to knock that one over, so 3 points to 0. The commentator said that could be enough to win it, and he was bloody close to being right. Although the last 10 minutes was largely about La Rochelle. They were putting on huge pressure from the 70-minute mark. I mean, Lowry got caught in his own end goal, having to take the ball back from a kick through. and the La Rochelle scrum was getting on top. But then, kind of the reverse of what happened earlier when La Rochelle, that fourth maul, managed to stop it. Ulster on 71 managed to win like a scrum penalty after having been under pressure for ages, just been warned essentially, but they managed to kind of get them out of jail, so they managed to escape. La Rochelle kicked a 50-22, Husdoy, on like 74 minutes, but then they lost the line out, so that's when you're starting to think, man, 3-0 is going to be enough. 3-0 is maybe going to be enough. Ulster on 78 looked to have maybe won a turnover, but the ref pings them, saying I think they were off their feet at the breakdown. That puts La Rochelle well into Ulster's 22. Line out chance. Ulster didn't contest in the air. They set for the maul, and they did stop the maul, but then La Rochelle had a chance to go through some phases. And eventually, the big 130-40 kilo unit that is Joel Sclavi, the Argentinian international, manages to burrow over for the only try of the match with the last play of the game. Pretty much close to the post. Ulster seemed convinced there was a knock on a phase or two before, but the ref said he couldn't go back and look at it. Madigan again was not a happy chappy. There was almost a bit of handbags after the play, but yeah, either way, it's a try, it's converted, so 7 points to 3 final score. La Rochelle, I guess, doing what those champion sides do by finding a way to win, even if it takes to the last play of the game. Ulster's kind of recent run, unfortunately for them, not broken by this game, would have been a massive morale boost if they'd been able to get an away win at La Rochelle. But they can certainly hold their heads high for that, man. Hell of a game. I know La Rochelle seemed to be missing quite a few guys from the amount that I saw on the sidelines, but still, it was a pretty strong team that they played. Possession finishes pretty even, likewise territory, 49-51, 52-48, so not much in it with the the wind favouring the Ulster in the first half, La Rochelle in the second. Run meters, we saw a fair bit more in the second half, so it finishes 146-154. That's still pretty low in the scheme of things, but much more than we saw in the first half. Turnovers, 6 apiece. Both sides tackle at 93%, which is pretty massive, but just shows nobody really wanted to get the ball wide because it was just too hard to keep a hold of it. 70 tackles from La Rochelle, 79 by Ulster, so very even, man. Very little in this game. Nick Timoney, 11 tackles made, 3 turnovers. One came really close to scoring a try. Dulong gets man of the match, 41 run meters from him. Just trying to be as assured as he could at the back. And Aldreet, 2 defenders beaten, 2 turnovers, 1. Always a very busy shift from him too. But yeah, there you go, folks. Close game. Pretty low scoring, but pretty horrendous conditions. And it comes down to a prop. Scoring a try pretty much on the 81st minute. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon.